Hi empaths, welcome back to more crystal readings. So tune into whichever crystal is drawing your attention visually and notice how your energy wants to flow to it. On the left we have Herkimer Diamond, in the middle we have Stilbite, and on the right we have green Apatite. And these are going to act as mediums for us today. As you tune into it and send your energy into the crystal. And one, two, or all three may have messages for you. Your energy may spill over onto other crystals. So check out all the readings and see if they resonate. You're also welcome to go to the timestamp in the description or in the comment section to go straight to your reading if you feel really called to just listen to one. So just another moment of sending your energy. Okay, so for my Herkimer Diamond people, beautiful piece of Herkimer, isn't it? So tuning into the Herkimer, what's coming in is magical child. So you may look back at your childhood and realize that you stood out in some way, that you were mesmerized by magic, nature, animals, crystals. Maybe you were drawn to magical movies, right, with magical storylines, fairies. And you might have had a really good sense of things that were unsaid, right? There's an ability to attune to energy here. There's an ability to empathic sense, right? I mean, are we surprised you're watching Urban Empath? But a crystal child, a sensitive, and just a very magical being. That, and you know, sometimes when that happens, we lack a sense of belonging here on the earth plane, and that creates a lot of wounding, and it can lead to pessimism and feeling isolated and alone and misunderstood, and right, we can perceive rejection, or we can be bullied. It feels like we have that experience sometimes, but you know, things that aren't appreciated when you're a child that make you different and stand out can sometimes be your greatest gift, right? As you uncover your purpose, as you discover your gifts, there's a great ability to attune here. Attune to energies, vibrations, frequencies. You might be drawn to sacred geometry, right, for healing purposes. Really great at bringing groups together and knowing and understanding their needs, tuning into people's energies and giving them great inspiration or guidance and direction, right? Helping them come back to their own inner compass and guidance system, their own inner knowing. You have a great gift at that. There's some sensitivity here, right? Because of this great ability to attune, know that there's a sensitivity here, and that you also attune to the energies that are in food, substances, the air, right? You're very sensitive to elements in, you know, toxic elements and things like that. There's a sensitivity to all of that. So you might want to consider refining what has access to you, right? It, by means of what you're digesting, what you're inhaling, what you're putting in your body, basically, and on your body, right? There might be a sensitivity here, and maybe you are sensitizing. Maybe you're coming into this sensitivity. And you realize it's affecting your ability to think clearly and find direction. And you're just being asked to kind of check in with what you're putting in your body and make sure it's friendly for you, right? That it's helpful, nourishing, that it's not adding irritability or irritation or inflammation, right? That it, notice how you feel after you consume something, or this is coming in strongly. So maybe this is something you're noticing with certain foods, particularly at the change of season, right? Maybe there's seasonal foods that no longer work, right? That they worked in the winter, but as we move into spring, it doesn't agree with the body anymore. Trust your sensitivity here, because you have a very keen sense. You're really tuned in. And what also is being emphasized is this magical ability, right? Work your magic. Much like a crystal, and this is an attunement stone, by the way. So, right, the Herkimer is known to amplify and work with the effects of Reiki and other energy healing modalities, helps you attune to those energies. So that's probably why we're getting here that there's a sensitivity to energy and vibration, that your system tends to recalibrate and attune to things. And we want to look closely at that. On the other hand of that, your presence has the potential to really be healing for others, right? So when you care for yourself optimally, and you're able to show up and be present and not be in that feeling of irritation or moody or whatever it is, because you've taken stellar care of yourself, your presence is healing for others. Your presence alone, right? Your ability to transmute the energy of the room and to understand others, right, in a way that maybe no one else has ever seen them. They just feel so seen and heard. You might always get the comment, "You're such a great listener," or, you know, "I don't trust anyone the way I trust you." Things like that, right? You might have a lot of people coming in to access that magical energy and that magical power. And make sure you're putting it to proper use and creating for yourself here, right? Because if you're an empath, sometimes we are susceptible to the thoughts and agendas of others, and we attune to them as if they're our own. So get back in touch with that inner compass, your inner knowing, right? Your sense of self, however you can do that, however you can ground back down, get in touch with things that you love. Whether that might very well be crystals, right? Working with your crystals, coming back to your incredible capacity to attune to energies and vibrations. You might want to work with mandalas, sacred geometry, right? Something that puts you back in touch with who you really are in the present moment, right? Because you might find you drift off and start attuning to things because you have the great capacity to do so. You might also feel much like a starseed that you didn't originate here, that you're here to bring your amazing gifts, your amazing magical abilities, and feel that longing. So there's this floating up and out, looking to the stars, right? for answers, for identity, for some sense of home, right? Coming back to home. Where's home, right? And home is in the present moment when we're attuned to self. So attune to yourself. That might be what's happening here is you're so attuned to others' needs, right? That you're coming out of yourself and self-identity. And that can happen for empaths. And that's what we talk about when we talk about the empathic wound, healing those empathic tendencies, right? It only becomes problematic when it's interfering with your life, right? When your ability to thrive and flourish in your own life, it becomes too problematic for you to be able to do that, then we want to look at that and work on empowerment and self-discovery. So if that's something you want to work more with, definitely check out my session work. That's something we do in the strategic revitalization sessions, right? Or spiritual consultation. We'll do a lot of deep healing around that. If you need a personal reading, that'll also be linked in the description. In session work. So is there anything else that's coming in? Just your presence is a gift. I mean, it's cliche, but it's so true. You have a magical presence. That's part of the reason you incarnated here, is to bring that light, to bring that healing, and that ability to empathize with others and help them feel seen, right? You can do that for yourself, right? And I can show you how to do that in session. So look into that session work if that calls to you. I feel like there's something else before we close. I'm seeing a Merkaba. So if you're into working with sacred geometry, right, and training with those vibrations, because you have this gift for attuning, you might want to look into Merkaba or mandala work or yantra, crystal formation. There's something about that. About it, what it does for you internally, right? To bring you back to center, to bring you back, might also be constellations, right? Something to do with the stars, maybe looking at astrological charts or something like that. Maybe you have an ability to see those patterns much more skillfully than others and interpret. So you might want to look into that. But what I want the takeaway to be here is you are magical. So if you're looking for direction in life, just remember to bring in that magic of your essence, right? That there's a magical quality, that even if you're doing something very mundane, you can always tap into your magic to just give it that extra special signature that is you. Right? Whatever that means for you. Okay? Your ability to attune is a gift. So I hope that resonated. You might want to watch other crystal readings to see if they resonate with you. Let me know in the comments if that resonated, if that made sense for you. And again, look into the session work. Or if you feel called to do an energy exchange donation, that'll all be in the description. Greatly appreciated. And thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel. You're really valued here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get into the next reading. Okay, for Stilbite people. Isn't this a great piece of Stilbite? I love it. Okay, so tuning into this group. powerful emotions. So really connected to your emotions. You might even be water dominant in your astrological chart, or just in the way you show up in general. Emotional person, feeling, loving person. Devoted, right? There's this sense of devotion. You might pride yourself, or have gotten the comment that, you know, you give a love that's that people haven't experienced before, right? It may be even so powerful, people are afraid of it at times, right? Particularly if it's romantic. You just have this open, loving heart. And that emotional capacity can lend itself to manifestation, right? When we come into emotional resonance and we understand that language of emotion and we experience intense emotions, that lends itself to manifestation, because we get into emotional resonance, and that's how we manifest. And if we give a thought, or if we plant a seed for manifestation and we surround it with intense emotion, that's what helps cultivate that, right? And bring it into the physical world. So you have a capacity for that. You can harness the power of those emotions in that way. And that's also something you want to learn to manage, right? Because they can they can be fairly intense and take over at times. You might also be working on some heart healing right now. Maybe you did have an experience where you loved another so intensely that they couldn't handle that love. And know that, you know, this may be an opportunity for you to learn to give some of that love to yourself, right? Sometimes we give love as an outpouring out of a wound. And so it's kind of like this unspoken agreement that I'm attaching to the love that I'm giving, and I expect reciprocation, right? Sometimes that can happen, particularly if you're water dominant. If there's a lot of water, if there's an exacerbation of water in the system, it can lead to attachment. So we want to temper this. We want to make sure we put this in balance, this water element. We can do that through fire, right? Getting in touch with our fire. So moving your body, right? Sweating it out. Doing something we're really passionate about, right? Just getting more in touch with fire. And we can also, air can also be, right? The detachment of the air, the quality of the air can be cooling, detaching, give us more of a bird's eye view, expanded view than that attached water element. So perhaps we're working on resolving some lingering emotions from a past relationship where we really loved someone. It was just this unbridled passion for them. And maybe we pedestaled them. Maybe we put them on a pedestal, right? And maybe that scared them and it was too much for them. That might have been a lesson for you to look at this wounding. This wasn't a mistake. And this isn't this isn't an instance where you should feel shame around this. This is an opportunity to really look at this and heal this wounding. If this is what's coming up with you, for you, and this is what you resonate with, there might be this I'm not enough and I won't be loved, right? And when we do that, what happens is we create so much resistance in receiving, right, the thing, because we make it so charged. It becomes so important that we receive this because it means that I am, right? It has, we make it have a meaning about us. We make it about us. And so the air element might be some medicine here. If we can detach from the outcome, right? And learn to bring that love in and radiate it out, right? Because when it's giving and giving and giving and pushing out, you see how it's pushing out and you're pushing someone away. So learning to put that in check, right? Considering the vibration here, right? Considering the energy dynamics. Is it possible for someone to come closer if you're giving and giving and giving? Because that's pushing energy, right? So consider reeling that in a little bit. And honestly, if energy dynamics can shift and this person was right for you, there's no lost opportunity. If a person's the right person, there's not a lot you can do to chase them away. But we might take a breather and be in separation in order to look at some of these wounds and to heal them, right? So if you have the not enough syndrome, if you're an overgiver, if you're overfunctioning in relationship, if you get really attached to partner, right? And so much so that sometimes, that most of the time they never become a committed partner because it means so much for you to have that. So we want to learn to lean back a little bit and learn self-love, right? Learn to love self the way we love others, right? Because it can be too much for someone else. It can be too heavy. Sometimes this is what happens when we didn't feel the love we needed from a parent, right? So we go seeking parental love from a partner, and that's too heavy. It's too much. It's too heavy. So looking at putting this in check and balancing this out, right? We can do that in session work where we really look at these parts. We look at the pattern of family. So check out my session work if that's something that you're working through and need support. That'll be in the description, a link to that. So the emotion, the connection to your emotions is a gift and a hindrance in the manifestation process. And you can see how, right? We want to be in the emotional resonance of the reality we want. But if we're in wanting, if we want something so hard, we're actually pushing it away. And it becomes a resistant energy, a pushing energy. So finding the right emotional pitch, right? And match, resonant match for the reality we're seeking. That could be your gift. Just refining that emotion and maybe looking at some of the wounds that are creating this. Could be we didn't feel we were loved properly by a parent or both parents, caregivers, if you don't know your biological parents. The message here is that you are lovable. You are so lovable. You are more than enough, right? So really take that in right now. You are enough as you are, right? You don't have to give in order to receive love in return, right? You don't have to give and overgive to prove you're worthy. You already are. So just coming into alignment with that reality and feeling that and knowing that inside of you, you are so lovable. You are loved and you are enough. You don't need to question that anymore. All right? And the gentle stone of universal love, Stilbite, is bringing you that message. Okay. So if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, feeling lovingly witnessed as you never have before, description, or a link to sessions are in the description of this video, and personal reading, whatever it is you're looking to do, that'll all be in the description. Energy exchange donations are appreciated as well. That's in the description as well. Feel free to watch other videos because your energy may have spilled into the other stones. So see if there's messages for you there. Thank you for commenting to let me know if they resonate. I'd love to hear your feedback about your experience of these incredible messengers, right? Great mediums, the crystals. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye, empath. Okay, so for my green apatite people, isn't this a beautiful piece? I was really drawn to this. I think I got this at a crystal or a gem show or something. I can't quite remember. It's been a while. I've had this a long time. So tuning in. So I have a sense that the people that were resonating with the green apatite are very unique people with very interesting quirks, special interests, maybe a little rebellious in that and not in like a mean-spirited way, but just not fitting in, wanting the freedom of being uniquely you and kind of taking pride in the fact that you're not like everyone else. Chances are that wasn't always a blessing in your life. Chances are people tried to condition you to be like everyone else at one point, and yet you maintained this unique expression of who you really are. Like spiritual warrior, there's like this warrior energy. You really had to confront a lot of fears around rejection, right? You showed up with courage around people who attempted to clip your wings, right? Freedom is very important for you. Freedom to be who you are, to do what you want to do, to follow your path, which might be very unique. It might make you feel a little bit isolated, like a lone soldier or hunter, or yeah, like a lone spirit. You might just feel like I want a sense of community. That might be something you're longing for, and yet you look around and there's not really anyone like you to share in the experience with, and that might be something that's on your mind currently, or something that you've had to walk through in the past. There might be a little bit of angst and irritation at people who conform, maybe even a little judgment around that, about people that are closed-minded and judgmental. Interesting, right? We judge the judgmental people. So there's some guidance coming in here around eliminating irritations and interferences in your environment. You might also want to protect against like radiation, EMFs, things like that. Anything that could be adding irritation, right? To this charged, angsty energy, this rebellious energy. So it might be beneficial for you if you're not already. You might already be onto this. Cutting out all light at night, right? Even maybe wearing a mask to help yourself get a really deep sleep. Maybe you're having trouble sleeping as well. Very active spirit. Like I want to go out and do. I want to go out and this time of quarantine, if that's when you're watching, is probably very hard on your spirit that wants freedom. You know, you want to go roam. You want to go do your own thing. And you've chosen a very specific path that feels very unique to you. I'm getting a sense that many of you might be energy workers, body workers, massage therapists, things like that, because you wanted this sense of freedom from the 9-to-5 stuff. It just doesn't resonate with you. If that's, you might also want to consider partaking in that for yourself after we come out of this time of social distancing. Right? Because there might be some tense muscles that are creating some aches and pains. And if you are a practitioner, you might want to consider giving energy work to yourself in that sense to help relax you. You're on a healing path here. Your presence is healing for others. You ignite them with courage, right? And that's what this stone's about. This stone is about healing. This stone is about courage, being contagious. And you know, you have that in spades. People might find you unpredictable and hard to get close to because there's not a constancy to really, so you might feel misunderstood, right, from people. Because you're active, you're into new things. Your mind is always looking for new things to get into, new information to learn, confronting fears, right? Just shining a light in dark places. And not everyone's down with that, right? Not everyone can hang with that. So the guidance here is, can you get really right with you? Are you living in your own good opinion, right? Are you sometimes using this uniqueness to feel significant, right? And important, and maybe even to scare other people or manipulate them in a way, right? By really amplifying those differences. You know, the things that make us special also make us stand apart instead of together. So, it's a beautiful thing. We're all unique in our own ways, and it's a beautiful thing to stand out courageously and fearlessly, right? As a spiritual warrior, you give other people the courage to do the same. So if now there's this temptation to compete or compare yourself to others, you're being encouraged to acknowledge your uniqueness and to not feel like your toes are being stepped on, or that to just be really solid with who you are, and because you worked hard on getting to know yourself, right? You confronted a lot of fears. You must have done a lot of inner work in dark places. And maybe it wasn't always by choice. Maybe life gave you circumstances where you had to go there. You had to look at these things. And you kind of lit a fire in places that other people are afraid to go. And maybe that's one reason that's one thing that sets you apart so much, is that other people haven't gone there. They can't hang there. They're too afraid, right? So they don't resonate. You seem too powerful, and that scares them. So looking at some of this charged energy, at this time, you might want to refine how you communicate with others. If there are, if there's some charged language or judgment, right? Or if you compulsively say things you don't mean, looking at healing this, tempering this fire inside, right? Because that courage can come with, I'm not afraid to tell you how it is. And not everyone appreciates that all the time. So learning when silence is better, right? Learning when your opinion and your words are going to be appreciated, right? So no doubt you have great wisdom to share and guidance, but if it's given to someone who's not ready or who isn't looking for it, you're going to create more resistance for that person. So learning discernment here around how you use words to connect, right? How you communicate, and maybe not just with words, but with energy, with your thoughts, right? What are you thinking? Are you judging somebody? Or are you looking for ways to connect? Are you looking for similarities, ways that you're the same? Because you do stand out, you are unique. That is not in question here. But you don't have to prove that over and over to other people. And maybe there's this idea that others are disapproving of your path, and that's really like troublesome to you and it's weighing on you. You're on the right path. You trust your inner knowing. It's a unique path, so maybe not everyone understands. So maybe you're getting conflict and it's creating inner conflict. Look at it. Look at those fears. Look at that discomfort. And consider what other people are saying instead of combating them, right? Consider people's fears and go in and resolve them for yourself, right? Create even more coherence, even more stability, even more inner peace around this is it. And I know I'm making the right choices here for myself. I just got to keep going, right? And get right with yourself. Live in your own good opinion. And you can use the feedback you're getting from others to strengthen that, because there's a strong sense of self here. Strong leadership potential, right? Finding ways to connect with others so that you can lead them to their own unique path. Help them by modeling, right? And let other people know your path is going to be unique as well, right? Instead of comparing or competing. Really getting secure. So the more secure you feel in yourself and with your choices, you're on the right path. Keep going. Don't doubt yourself. Other people want to keep you safe, and doing so, it feels controlling, right? It feels manipulative. They want to keep you safe. So can you set healthy boundaries in a really constructive way at a time when their energy isn't charged, right? In a time where everything's calm and you can present it as neutrally as possible, not in the moments where it's charged. And if those people can't respect the boundaries, more distance needs to be created, right? Because we need to have trust with the people that we have in our lives. This was very unexpected, all of this information. Because that's probably the worst feeling you can have, because you value freedom so much. I just want to acknowledge that you owning who you really are is just such a powerful way of being. It's really inspiring to other people who want to take those risks, right? Who want to come out and be who they really are. So I just want to say, I hope that this reading didn't create resistance or conflict, or I hope that the message was delivered in a way that felt like medicine in a way, right? Because we all have room to grow, but this need for connection is very real. And the power, you have that power too, right? Just as you have the power to stand out, you also have the power to find ways to connect with other people, and find your similarities, even if it's on the simplest human level, right? Of needs, the hierarchy of needs, or, right? We all have the same needs. We just prioritize them differently, and we find ways of meeting them differently. So just understanding that you are connected with other people and you do have an impact. It's very strong impact, which is probably why you find other people trying to control you and clip your wings a little bit. And that's a no-no for you. So this message is about kind of honoring this power within you, and this unique path. That you are a spiritual healer, or some kind of healer, right? With body work or whatever it is, this unique, but in this unique way, this powerful, fiery way that ignites courage for others to be themselves and be who they really are. Whatever that means for you, that no one compares. You're a very unique person. And that's really being celebrated here. So I hope that reading resonates. And if so, let me know in the comments. I've never really delivered a message like that before, so I hope that landed. It was interesting that came in. Again, some of the other crystals might resonate. If your energy spilled over, check out those readings as well. Maybe there's medicine in there for you. Comment, let me know if this resonated. I'd really love to know. And if you're interested in a personal reading or a personal session, that information will be in the description of this video, as well as energy exchange donations. They're always appreciated. I appreciate you for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel. And you're really here just to be you. And that's pretty incredible. So thank you for your courage and motivation. I will see you in the next reading. Bye, empath.